Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's so nice in a hot summer day in the middle of end of July that we're here. And you normally, as Drake just gave it to me, would be hearing me talk about things that have to do with, ethics, all the new stuff that's going to happen on August 17th. We've been talking about the NAR settlement ad nauseum. So when I talked to my dear friend Laura, who I'm going to talk about in just a second, and I said, we have the class. She said, you want to have somebody come speak? And I'm flat. You guys are seeing, royalty, because I got to tell you. So with that said, I always start, you've heard this one story, but some of you newbies who have not heard this, before I get into Laura, one thing that, oh my God, look at this.
Wow.
Wow,
Penny.
it's many too, I'm telling you. So what's so cool is what you have to think about is what everybody talked about today at the meeting. When you wake up, do the right thing. You'll never have to worry about what Laura's going to talk about, what Hallie talked about, the purple, the red pillows, and that was a good one. But that was a good one. So when I talk about what's going to happen, we probably will see some lawsuits out there, gang. We're going to see stuff happen because of what's going on. And the sad thing about it is our society likes to do that kind of thing. But I go back to when Deb and I first were told that we had to use a company like Real Estate Risk Management. I went, no way. I'm not paying $149. Are you kidding me? That's a lesson. We've never had anything. Well, lo and behold, the next day, we had to call Laura. Hi, Laura. This is Debbie and Rob Feldman. We've become dear friends because of it. I would continue to sing her praises, tell the people in this office, if you're looking for people to come here, one of our aces in the hole is Real Estate Risk Management. Like Hallie's available, Simon's always available, calls us on, when we call him on the weekend, he calls back, which is, you don't find that. And then Manny's available and that kind of thing. And so with Laura, there is so much information to impart to you guys about what happens with real estate risk management. Whether, and she's going to explain it rather than me explain it. She's here, the top dog is going to explain, and we have some unbelievable cases. You're going to hear what agents do that are not the right thing. And even though I talk about it all the time when we do these classes that are pretty crazy, Laura's going to really come up with good ones. But I always tell somebody who hasn't heard here, the one that I left Pro Standards on was the one agent that was of a different culture, went to her culture, started selling. She took deposits from the potential buyers, and instead of putting the deposit to escrow, she pocketed it. So this was my last case, and to the tune of, people think, oh, when you get go to Pro Standards, or you get, in Laura's world, the monies that are there, it's no longer a slap on the wrist, especially in power. If somebody does something really wrong, they could get charged up to $15,000 and fined, 6 months suspension, so on and so forth. So what happened was this lady got caught. She had to pay back almost $222,000, and she lost her license and she's in jail. So wake up and do the right thing.
That's how much she stole?
Yeah, stole it, just done. So that's not the fun one, but that can happen. Right. So now when I introduce Laura, again, Laura has so much information to impart about us, about what she does and why the attorneys that she hires and has that works with us as part of our group for $149. It is the best deal in the world. So I'm sitting down today.
Thank you, Rob. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Laura Peterson. For those of you that have not met me before, I am the COO for Real Estate Risk Management. I'm just a little bit about RERM. We are celebrating our 30, it's supposed to be 37, 37th year in business. We were started by my father and mother back in 1987 when they lost everything due to litigation. They lost their homes, their cars, my grandfather's home, everything. They knew there had to be a better way, which is why they created real estate risk management. They are currently 81 and 76, and I work hard so they don't have to. They vacation the world and just have a good time, and I'm there to help you. That is what our company is about. I am, in addition to being the COO, I am also a mediator. I've served as a mediator at the Supreme Court in Sacramento County where I live. I do specialize in real estate disputes. I work hand in hand with the people in our legal department on all of your cases. Anyone that has worked with me knows I return your call that same day. We always want the broker management team involved. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the portal. That way your legal request can be done so much faster. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is the bad people in real estate. When my husband and I were on the freeway this morning at 4 a.m. and I was talking about the different cases I was going to discuss today, he goes, you know, honey, you're really the Grim Reaper of real estate. And I said, you know what? I said, if my stories are going to help agents stay legally healthy and out of court, then I'm doing a great job. So the Grim Reaper, I will take that title because I would rather scare people into understanding, don't do what these people are doing, because there are consequences that you are far beyond your imagination of how hard they're cracking down right now. Lawsuits are up 10%, okay? And they keep climbing up, 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 up. Why? People are desperate for money. When people get desperate for money, they do desperate things. And when they do desperate things, people get upset. They go out and hire attorneys, and the attorneys sue. And they sue everyone. I have an agent right now that has been brought into a lawsuit. She goes, I didn't do anything. I was representing the buyer. I did nothing wrong. I said, they're throwing out a net. And that's what they do because they want to get after your E&O. Simon can attest, E&O insurance has skyrocketed, just like homeowners insurance. E&O has gotten even more expensive. I have clients that had no claims over the last year and their rates have tripled. So E&O is something to cherish. It is something to take care of. It is not something to abuse, because if you abuse it, those rates are going to go up. And guess what? It's going to come out of everybody's pockets. So today we're going to talk about worst cases in RERM's library. Now, I've worked for the company since 1995, so I have a very large library, but I didn't want to keep you here all afternoon. So I just took down the top 5 cases that I thought you would be interested in. So, in no particular order. Gambling is never worth it. What this case was about is during the recession back in 2008, there was an agent who had these clients that owned a house and they lost a lot of value, and they said, hey, we want a short sale, but we have $90,000 in our savings account. The agent who had spent holidays with him, was a family friend, said, just go get a money order, give me the money order, I'll hang on to it, and we'll get you qualified for the short sale. And then once we get you qualified, then I'll give you the money back. And I go, oh, okay, great. They went down to the bank, they got him the money order, and he put a sign up on the house. You know, there was in the MLS and all of that, but there was really no action going on. And they look in the newspaper, and here's a picture of him at the yacht club with his wedding. They weren't invited to the wedding. They're like, I thought this was a close family friend, right? So they finally tracked him down and they told him, please bring back the $90,000 money order. We want the money back. We've decided we don't want to sell. So he shows up and he's got a stack of transactions, supposedly open transactions, and he sits down with them and says, I have a gambling problem. And I took your $90,000 and I blew it playing blackjack at the Commerce Casino. But I have all of these open transactions. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write you an IOU. And I saw this IOU with my own eyes. I was just so blown away by it. It said, I owe you $90,000 that I lost playing blackjack at the Commerce Casino. I promise to pay you back out of these transactions, right? And he leaves again. Couple weeks go by, he goes MIA, so they hire a lawyer. The lawyer immediately sues the brokerage, immediately sues the agent, and starts a criminal investigation. The broker sees this. He walks into the guy's office. The guy's packing up his office. He goes, "Did you do this?" He goes, "Yeah, get ready. I did it to about 6 others too." The broker was 65. He was getting ready to, I can't say the name of the company because I don't name names, but they have a balloon. He was getting ready to retire. He lost his brokerage. He lost his license.
Ugh.
He ended up filing bankruptcy. He lost everything due to this one agent. The agent was sentenced, had to pay restitution, all of that, and obviously lost his real estate license. But these are some of the people that are out there in this industry. And when you come across them, they can seem like your friend and they might want to try to encourage you to cut corners. Do not cut those corners. "Oh, I'll get you those disclosures. Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll get it. We'll just go ahead and close. We'll get them over to you." No, no, we need those documents now. We're not going to close until my client has the opportunity to review those documents. So please make sure that there's some bad people out there that you know, hey, they could try to pull me into their web, and I don't want you to have that done to you.
Questions on that? And,
So the
and,
broker
go ahead.
worse off than the agent.
Yes, because the broker is held responsible. It says the broker did it and approved it, even though it was fraud. But the broker is ultimately held responsible. None.
But the broker approved for the money or?
No. The broker had no idea that this guy was doing this. None. He was one of his star agents. But because before the recession hit, he was making tons and tons of money. The money was coming in floods. And, you know, a lot of people in the real estate industry live paycheck to paycheck. They live commission to commission. And they get used to having those big commissions come in, and they live high, the old expression, high on the hog. They woohoo, yeah, you know, I can go out to the best 5-star restaurants 5 nights a week. I can take these vacations. And then the stream gets thinner and thinner and thinner. And then you go into a recession and they're like, "Oh, wait, I overextended myself." So, and there's a lot of them out there. And so it's really important that when you're dealing with an agent on the other side, it could be from any office. Just make sure you are doing everything you are supposed to be doing, dotting your I's, crossing your T's. And if you see something in a transaction, say something. Don't just think it's okay. It's not my side, it's their side. No, tell Simon, tell Manny, tell management, tell them, say, "Hey, this is what's going on. I'm not real comfortable with this. How should I handle this?" You're not going to get in trouble for asking questions. I would much rather you talk to the attorneys every day on a case and have you protected than have some escrow close. They say you didn't do your job right. And so now you're going to get sucked into a DRE investigation. You're going to get into a board investigation. You're going to get into a lawsuit. So that is why you have RERM, because we have all those attorneys there that are there to advise you. Okay. Any other questions?
And the addendum to that, you all, is that Laura's group, it depends on what specifically you need to chat with her about. I mean, we've had clients that had issues with job and they're getting fired and they can't do this. So there's an attorney that is just strictly employment. There's an attorney, you have all the attorneys in different areas all over.
So it's not just real estate.
No,
No.
it's every type of
Lit-
law.
So
Good question.
Yeah.
You during an escrow and
Yes,
after escrow?
yes.
I thought it was just after escrow.
Nope.
I used you once and you were brilliant. I
Thank
thought,
you.
oh my God, you are a godsend.
Oh, thank you. No, you,
First escrow at Keller Williams.
Yes. anytime you are all lifetime members of RERM. Just by having your license here, you are lifetime members. So anytime moving forward, you have access to our attorneys as long as you're here professionally. And let's say when you retire in 10 years and are living on the beach of Hawaii and you say, "Hey, I want to set up another family trust," you can call RERM as lifetime members. we're going to get you a consultation with a trust attorney, a document review, and they're going to give you up to a 25% discounted rate off their normal hourly rates just by being a member.
So our clients, so we've closed the escrow, our
Yes.
clients can call you about something.
Yes,
anything.
yes.
And re-
Anything affecting the
and-
property.
And remember, you get a half hour gratis.
Yes,
So, and then that attorney, he or she will make the will say, here's what it is, and your client will be able to make the determination whether you want to continue at the discounted rate or thank you very much and
Yeah.
move on.
and then also, they'd also get lifetime mediation services after the close of escrow. So if there's any problem affecting the property, RERM has a team of mediators that are there specifically to handle those disputes between the buyer and seller, third-party contractor, HOA, barking dog next door, county, city. It doesn't matter if it's a problem affecting the property, as long as the buyer lives in that property, they have the services and the seller has them forever. So if the buyer comes back 5 years from now and says, you didn't disclose to me there was a crack in the foundation. Okay, well, it's been 5 years, but okay, let's start with mediation. Our team of mediators will step in and help get that resolved. And that's at no additional costs or fees to your clients or to any of the other parties. And then we also provide deposit dispute resolution services. That's for when a buyer and seller have canceled the deal. There's no heartbeat left in it. It's dead. We are not there to renegotiate the deals. I have agents that call us up all the time. Well, can't you as mediators try to renegotiate? No, that's not what we do. That's your job. What we do is we're dealing with the money being held in escrow. Our mediators will step in and work it out between the buyer and the seller over that deposit money at no additional costs or fees. To open a case with CAR mediation, it is a $500 non-refundable deposit. For us, it's all part of the service. It's part of that $149 fee paid at the close of escrow. So it's a huge incentive to work with you because not everyone has us. Other questions? No? Okay. Let's move on to story number 2. Agent changed wiring instructions.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. She mocked up escrow instructions and put her information in the checking account.
It's like people's minds to do that. That is so brazen.
Yeah.
I mean, you just know you're gonna, how do you not?
Okay. Hold on. It gets worse. It gets worse. Okay, so when the buyer realized that this had happened, they reached out for a response. There was no response from her. The brokerage was contacted by the sheriff's department and an investigation started. The agent was arrested and posted bail, and she continued to do that to other people. Even though the brokerage had terminated her license, she had their paperwork. And so the judge finally revoked her bail and said, no, you're staying in jail until we have your formal hearing. Now the lawsuits start coming in against the brokerage. The brokerage had no idea this was going on. None. They had no, until the sheriff showed up, they had no idea what was going on. And then they find out that, okay, all of you know, licensed real estate agents, you have to go get fingerprinted, right?
Mhm.
At the DOJ, right? Okay, and for the DRE, right? Because they want to do a background check on you. In 2005, or 2006, this woman was arrested for felony bank fraud in Maryland in 2006, and she lied on her application to the DRE and the DOJ, and the DOJ didn't discover it. She got her license in 2017 in California. Well, that's what the brokerage is looking at, is going back to the DRE and the DOJ and saying, we rely on you to give us information on these people. If they have a restricted license, we need to know about it. If we want to take on that liability, those kind of things. In this situation, I do see a big mistake by the DOJ and the DRE, but it doesn't stop the civil lawsuits from happening. And because the agent is in jail and the money's all gone, they are going after the brokerage, and the E&O is not covering it because it's fraud. E&O does not cover fraud, just so everyone knows. You can get accused of fraud, and if convicted of fraud, they will not cover it. But in this case, because it was criminal fraud, there's no coverage.
We're not all Pollyannas, you guys, and what it tells you, what's going to happen out there, you just be careful with the new stuff. I've already had agents who I've known for many, many years said, well, everybody's worrying about your commissions and your stuff like that. I'm going to go over here and do this kind of thing. And I said, I don't want to hear it. Click, that kind of stuff. So just be aware.
Yeah.
So
They let her go and they found out, or what happened?
No, she's still in jail. She is still in jail. She's waiting for her hearing. But
I don't understand it. I don't understand why people do this. I mean.
de-
And you don't even have to be a Pollyanna, you just know you can't do
Right.
that because, no, but she's a criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, she's a.
True,
criminal.
yeah.
Jurisdiction. I know, carry out her crimes. That's crazy.
You had a question.
So what happens to the people that are out the money? If she's in jail, the money's gone, the broker says, hey, I'm not liable, E&O's not covering.
well, the broker can say they're not liable, but they still have to defend it.
So the broker has to pay.
But
Yeah. Yeah. And there is the broker recovery fund through the DRE that it's available, but it's very restrictive. There has to be very special guidelines. So that could give some relief, but the brokerage then has to pay the DRE back.
then file bankruptcy.
No, there's too many assets. So it's, and they're just screaming, we didn't do this. This wasn't us. We did not do this. We did not know she falsified documents, we don't condone that. So they're fighting it and they're hoping to get, yes,
You're hoping to, sorry, I didn't.
that's okay. No, they're hoping to get dismissed, but it's going to depend. It's just going to depend on the courts and the court's understanding. And they did hire one of our very big hotshot lawyers that is a fighter. I mean, this is the guy that I go to when I need somebody punched out. He's an attorney on our panel, Jonathan Black.
What's his name?
His name is Jonathan Black. Jonathan Black is an attorney at the Weston Law Group. I will tell you, his favorite word is the F word, and he drops a lot of them a lot of the time. So it's not everyone's cup of tea, but in a pinch, and when I need an attorney and I need a strong attorney, that's who I go to.
Say that though in court, can you?
No. He does himself. He speaks well in court. He does, but when he's talking on the phone to people, it's yeah.
Because the broker did, but they didn't.
That's what they're investigating right now. They are investigating the DRE and the DOJ.
So how do we avoid a situation like that from even happening? Like, what's the prevention?
The prevention is you don't falsify documents.
So just for yourself,
Yeah.
that's all you have. Okay.
Yeah.
Control over.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
And you make sure if your buyer is putting the money directly into escrow,
Make sure of that.
make sure it's going into escrow. Yes. Mm-hmm.
All day long.
Yeah, fall first. That's what Daddy always told me.
Get them on the phone.
Mhm. Yeah.
Trust but verify.
Exactly. Because I mean, there was, Rob, you might remember this. There was a broker out there who had a escrow company. This was like in 2015. I can't remember his name,
I
but
can't either, but I know
Okay,
where
okay.
you're going.
he had this escrow company. He started advertising short sales, and these short sales were so cheap, hundreds of thousands of dollars under asking. And so people were flocking to them. And he's like, okay, wire the funds, wire the funds, wire the funds, wire the funds into his escrow.
What?
He did not even have the listings. Okay, and this went on, and it became this crashing wave down here. I mean, this guy, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And one of our clients was calling me because they fell victim to it. And I'm like, okay, this is how we're going to handle it. My phone started blowing up with just people that were other victims. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You're not one of my clients. I want to help you, but the best thing I can do is direct you over to the DRE investigators. The DRE had to have a team of investigators do this. They arrested him, put him in jail, and then released him the next day. And then came back and arrested him again and released him again. And it was 2 years of absolute torture. And people got pennies on the dollar back. Yeah. That was horrific. I should have used that one.
That was a good one too.
All right. Failure to pay child support. The agent had their okay, just so everyone knows, personal actions have effects on your professional licenses. If you get a DUI, expect to get your DRE license suspended for a period of time. Okay. Uber. Oh no, I'm seeing 6 months. I'm seeing a year.
6 months, sometimes, and a year. As I said, and what Laura's being diplomatic, they just don't slap you on the hand anymore. Because when we first started this, and when I did pro standards many years ago, it was like, oh, let's fine them $100, and they're not going to do, and now it's 5,000, 10,000. You'll lose your license for 6 months, a year, and they've even gotten to the point when you have to report to the DRE with your picture. You have to put a current picture. If you do not put a current picture, like some people put their high school picture, or people put something that they don't really want to be known that it's them, they will right on the spot get their license suspended for a year. So
yeah. So
they can't get away with stuff
no,
anymore.
not anymore. And the computers all talk to each other now.
Yeah.
So if an agent gets a DUI, the DRE is going to know about it with like that. So if you get in any kind of motor vehicle violation in which your license could be suspended or revoked, please contact the broker management team right away. Don't hide it. Okay, that's the worst thing you can do. I tell my staff, don't hide things. Don't cover it up like cat doogie, just come out and just go to the broker management team. They'll keep it confidential. They won't gossip about you. And that they are there to help you, and we have attorneys that are there to help you. So please make sure that you are not doing anything that can affect your professional license in your own personal actions. So, okay, so this agent failed to pay child support. So his DRE license was suspended. His driver's license was suspended. The broker management team knew about it, and they let him complete a transaction. And he represented the buyer and the seller. It closed.
$multi-million transaction.
Yeah. So the buyer, after the close of escrow, calls up the agent and says, we have a problem. What's the problem? They didn't disclose this. And so the agent decided to play mediator. Don't play mediator. That's our job. Okay. That's our jobs, and that's our attorney's jobs to handle those types of situations. So anyway, it blew up. They ended up filing lawsuits against the buyer, and seller filed lawsuits against the brokerage and the agent. The E&O denied coverage to pay, and they ended up having to pay directly thousands of dollars in legal fees and eventually over $500,000 in damages.
I know.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Well,
What was the problem?
it was non-disclosure. The buyer was claiming non-disclosure. The seller hid things, and he said the agent knew because he represented both sides.
So I'm very
Mhm.
new. I'm like
Mhm.
not even in the womb yet.
Yeah.
That's how new I am. So like, yeah.
TMI.
Sorry. So I guess my question is, I'm forgetting now. That's too funny. Yeah, non-disclosure. Oh no, the dual agency. That so what exactly is so bad about that? You must disclose that you're a dual agent.
Well, of course you have to do that. But what this agent was saying, what the buyer was saying, because in the buyer's mind, the agent and the seller were much closer together, were more in cahoots together.
I know
And
that's a no-no, and
yes.
business insider trading is bad.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's what the buyer was claiming. And
Okay.
so, and the buyer said, you're taking the seller's side. So that's when he went out and got a lawyer and ended up suing. And then the seller got a lawyer and ended up suing. They both ended up suing the brokerage and the agent. And so the broker got his license suspended and the agent's license was revoked.
Whoa, goodbye. I know.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's scary. I tell my brokers all the time, okay, you're gonna put somebody on your team. You're gonna trust them with the keys to your car, your ATM machine, and dating your daughter. Okay, that's how much you have to trust these people, or your son. Okay, that's how much you have to trust these people. Okay, And I have computer programs that I can do background checks on people. And I encourage my brokerages to use those programs because I'm like, hey, sometimes like with the other office where the DOJ and the DRE made the mistake, I pulled up that woman and I found all this stuff on her. And I'm like, oh, wow. So I'm like, you guys need to have this computer program. It's $100 a year. Get it. So that way you know who you're dealing with.
A lot of them,
It's
they
people,
free, there's free ones, paid ones.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
check it out, but especially for a realtor.
Yeah.
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 Very good.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
That-
Yeah. People finders,
Open houses. it
people
happens.
finders,
Yeah.
people finders is who it
People
is.
find-
That's a
Yeah.
good, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Listing agent knew but didn't disclose. The home was listed for sale and had 4 previous offers that had been canceled. Okay. You see a property that had 4 previous offers and they all got canceled. Okay. So the buyer's agent placed an offer and the disclosures had no mention of any major problems. Escrow closed. And when the buyer had the city inspector come out for improvements, they were told the main Southern California aqueduct runs underneath this property.
That's a good one, isn't it?
Okay. The main aqueduct, they go, you can't do any type of changes to this property whatsoever at all. So the buyer offered mediation to the seller and see if they could work things out through the buyer's attorney. And they're like, nope, we're not doing it. So a lawsuit was filed against the seller and both the agents, even the buyer's agent. The buyer's agent didn't know. But again, fishing, they throw out the net, they name everybody and pull them all in. In the discovery, it was revealed that the previous transactions were disclosed the aqueduct. That's why the other 4 canceled. They knew, the seller and the agent knew, and they did not disclose. The case against the buyer's agent was settled for $30K. She was dismissed out of the case along with the brokerage. And then the case against the seller and the listing agent is still pending. Yeah. So if you know it, you disclose it. It does not matter what it might be, disclose it. If you feel I want to have the least impact on the transaction, great, no problem. Let's have you talk to one of the attorneys and get you the verbiage for the least impact on that transaction. We've disclosed bodies buried in the backyard. And honestly, we have. And so, it's, I mean, because, and also just so everybody knows, that 3-year statute of limitations for disclosing about a death in the property, that's for your seller. That's not for you. So if you know, you have to disclose. Okay? You can talk to
Disclose
the
to a
attorneys.
fault.
Yeah.
Disclose to a fault. I
Mhm.
mean, the addendum to that one, we had one transaction about 10 years ago. We went into the garage and there were chalk marks still. We didn't realize it was from the police dealing with what was there, and somebody was hung in the garage. And it was chalk marked all over. And the agent goes, oh, it's nothing, the kid's playing. And we ran for the hills. So just be aware. You guys are smart enough. You're sitting here hearing what Laura's telling you. And we're not made of that ilk to go and do that kind of thing. But what she's saying about disclosing to a fault,
Mhm.
because it won't come back to haunt your seller. It won't come back to haunt them. It'll come back to haunt you. So
Here's a
sorry.
story. No, it's okay. Here's a story I will share with you. It's not on one of the slides, but it's one of my favorites. A house out in Covina, Glendora area. And the guy that's buying it is a police officer. And he buys it from a couple that is part of a real estate office out in Corona. That was actually my client's. And the buyer's agent was also my client. So I get a phone call one day from the buyer's agent and she goes, Laura, I don't even know how to tell you this. And I go, what? And she goes, well, okay, this transaction closed. And this is around Christmas time. I'm getting this phone call. I'm like, yeah, okay. And she goes, well, the buyer is sitting there in his house one evening and all of a sudden there's a bang at the door and it's the sheriff's department looking for the son who is a registered pedophile because he's been accused of hurting children. And so he went outside because he goes, I just bought this house. I'm a cop. They said, step outside. So while they're searching the house, the neighbors come over and they go, well, yeah, the son died here about 3 months ago.
Huh.
And he goes, what? He goes, yeah, upstairs in that room up there. He died. He was sick with cancer and he died. Yeah, yeah. And so the sellers, the owners were a couple from the office, the real estate office. They were selling that property for themselves so they could move to Arizona and retire. But they did not disclose the death. It was only 3 months. I mean, this was crazy. And so I got on the phone with them and I go, did you not disclose the death of the property? And they go, well, yes, we did. We told them. I said, you told them? I go, where is it in writing? Oh, well, no, it's there. I go, great, send it to me. They call me, oh, we didn't do that. And I'm like, okay, let's work out a settlement. Let's work this out, And he did end up settling because this was during COVID. So he paid way over asking. He paid over $100,000 over asking. He ended up, I think, got like 120 from them. But yeah, it just, even real estate agents think they know everything. Oh, I'm just gonna, it's like, the mechanic's car, or, everything. It's just like, oh, I can get this done real fast and I'm not paying attention. You need to pay even closer attention if you're dealing with your own deals because you are held to a higher standard. You pass the exam, you know the rules. So that is one of the reasons why a lot of real estate agents get dragged into problems after the close of escrow when they sell their own properties, because the buyers say, hey, you didn't disclose this to me. You didn't disclose that to me. You took this. This was supposed to stay with the property. And it just starts up a problem after the close. So, okay. Drunk seller. Agent filled out the disclosures.
I'm sorry.
So this agent, the listing agent, drove 2 counties away to meet with the wife. It was a divorce case. Meet with the wife and to have her sign all the disclosures. Well, she shows up and she's drunk and she's stumbling around. So the agent sits her down and says, I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do this. I'm just going to ask you the questions and then I will fill this out for you. Right? Big mistake, huge. So she does all that. She leaves. The seller sobers up, realizes what the agent did, and decided, well, I can renegotiate this because you know what? What she did was wrong, and I know it's wrong. And so she went back and said, you're going to drop your commission, or I'm going to go to the DRE. I'm going to file a lawsuit. I'm going after your brokerage. I'm doing all of this. She went from 3 to 1. Yeah. Yeah. No, 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 no. You never, ever, ever, ever do that. And if your client you're representing a seller and everything is checked, no, there's something wrong. Unless they've never lived in that house. Okay. If they've lived in the house 6 months and they never use the oven, it's a brand new house, maybe. But if they've lived in that house for any period of time and it was their primary residence, I'm sorry, you're going to tell me you didn't have a plumber come over? You didn't have any type of repairs done? You didn't have any problem, any damage, nothing. No, I'm sorry. There's got to be something. I got a phone call this week from a client that the buyers bought a $6 million home up in Brentwood. And I hate neighbors, just so everybody knows, I hate the Karens. The Karens of the neighborhoods. Oh, they used to be called Mrs. Kravitz,
Oh, yeah.
but now they're the Karens.
Yeah.
Okay. They are awful. They are awful, awful people. And they will come and start things because they just come in. Well, did you know that house, this is what they're telling this young couple. Did you know that house was violently robbed? And they came home when the robbers were there and they tried running and the husband chased the guy down the street and tackled him. And it was just really big. And none of this was disclosed to the buyers. And the buyers are like, had we known this, we would not have bought this house.
Disclose the robbery?
Yes, yes, yes. Disclose, disclose, disclose again. And if your clients are like, well, I don't know if I want to disclose that robbery, say, okay, look, let's get you a consultation with one of the attorneys so you can talk to them. And then the attorneys are going to tell them, yes, you need to disclose this. Let's get you some verbiage for that least impact on the transaction. So my worst neighbor case that I ever had was in Yosemite. son was selling the house. His father had passed away. Son was selling his house. And the buyer moves in and the neighbors come over and they go, oh, I don't know how you could be in that house. And they're like, why? And they go, well, you know, the guy had a heart attack and died. And he was in the house with his dog. And the dog was locked in there for 30 days with him. And he was chewing on the body. And, you know, yeah, and they had to bust down the front door to get in there. And this is horrific story. And I'm going, oh my God, right? So I called the listing agent who was one of my clients and he goes, okay, let me get a hold of the son. The son calls me. He goes, what are you talking about? He goes, my dad died in an intersection in his truck in downtown Yosemite. He had a heart attack. That's what the death certificate says. I'm sending it to you now. So I sent it over to the buyer's agent, shared it with the buyer, and the buyer said, well, why would the neighbors say things like that? I go, because neighbors love to gossip. They don't even know what they're talking about half the time. They just love to gossip.
That's a good one.
I mean, you know, yeah. So I don't trust neighbors. I'm friendly with my neighbors, but to an arm's length. I don't get close with my neighbors just because I don't want them in my business.
But very true. And uniquely, what Deb and I do all the time, once we get to that point, we'll go knock on the neighbor's doors. Hi, how are you? You know, introduce, and most of the time they're very honest and tell you but Laura's right. There's some that, oh, you know, but we knock on the door to make sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, so do not let your clients fill out paperwork when they've been drinking. Okay. My brother did this. He signed a listing agreement after he already had a buyer for his property. And this agent coerced him in a bar to sign a listing agreement and a purchase agreement. And I ended up having to go to the brokerage and saying, what are you doing? You are not doing this. He already had the buyer. You came in, he was drinking at a bar and you convinced him to sign your listing agreement and the purchase agreement? No, you're not doing this. This is canceled. And if you don't cancel it, I'm going to the association, I'm going to the DRE. You know what I do for a living, so back off. And she did, but yeah. So clients drinking, no paperwork, no paperwork. At a restaurant, no, as long as they're not actively drinking. Do the paperwork first before anybody has a glass of wine or a drink, okay? Because the last thing you want them to do is come back and say, hey, they were drinking. Well, we were all drinking and filling out this paperwork. And then also at your open houses, I don't like wine. I know everybody likes wine at open houses. I get it, wine and cheese and all of that. Little tiny baby like tasting pours. Okay. And because the last thing you want to be accused of is that you provided the alcohol at the open house that got somebody drunk, that got them in a DUI or an accident and have them come after you. Yeah. I have a lot of agents that do. I don't like it. I don't like it. But anyway. Okay. So any questions? No? All right. Okay. So have all of you signed up for the RERM portal? Yes. Portal. Okay, so your legal requests are now going to be a lot faster if you use the RERM portal. All right. If you have not gotten the portal link, or it's only live for 24 hours. So and I know we sent everybody at this office the link. If you have not signed up yet, please let us know. Just send us an email or you can tell me. We will resend it to you, but it's only live for 24 hours. That's for security purposes. It's just like any other portal. Your username is your email address and you create your password, and then you're able to go in, you're able to create a new legal case for yourself or for your client. You can use your phone. There's apps on Android. There's apps on Apple. It's under RERM under the app stores. You can view your transactions. So the certificate of benefits that we issue for your client after the close of escrow, I tell agents at the end of the year, go gather all your certificates and send them to your clients. It's just kind of a, hey, happy new year. I know things get crazy during a move. I just wanted to remind you that you still have this service. It's just a nice marketing touch to keep them in your mind. Because when they're talking to their friends and their friends are asking them, well, my real estate agent does this and this, but does your real estate agent provide you with a legal service? What? No. Well, I want that. Oh, well, here's my real estate agent's information. So it's a great way to use a marketing advantage for you. So you can visit the customer portal
And
there.
it doesn't cost anything to do it,
Nope.
so.
Yep. And then there's the apps. My husband designed those. Yeah. And then, okay, so the RERM website, that's for you. The buyer seller website, that's a standalone website for your clients. So if they're asking, well, what does this do? They have their own standalone website. They can always call us about benefits. You can always call us about benefits. We're happy to talk with you. If you still want to just fill out the forms, you can do that. It's up to you. This is an option. It's not a mandate, but the statistics are showing us that your legal requests for you and your clients are getting through 50% faster by using the portal. Oh my goodness.
What?
Oh my goodness. Oh.
We don't normally let interruptions like that, but look at this. For those of you newbies too, that was the other director of First Impressions before Summer came in, and a newbie. Wow. that's
Okay,
crazy.
I'm gonna go give a hug real quick.
Go give a hug.
Okay, I'm gonna stay around if you guys have questions, okay? Okay, thank
You guys-
thank you.
And the only thing, I mean, this is not crazy ass stories, but just remember too, when you're as listing agent now, people are gonna call you and want to know what commissions are gonna be or what you're gonna be paying. Make sure that you follow and talk to them, because there's gonna be issues. It just took us 2 years
Laura's
to
all
do a
done.
client in
Laura's
Brentwood
all done.
because the
She's done, yeah.
agents
Come here.
wouldn't
Sweetheart.
call us
Come here.
back. So we
here.
finally, I mean, somebody just said, screw it. And we must have showed this young lady over 50 properties. We're no longer doing that for free, everybody. No more. But one agent that turned out to be fabulous, and that's what
Yeah.
sealed the deal. But so just make sure you do
Send
the,
me a link of it
the
and
right
I'll review
thing.
it
So
because we've increased the benefits.
thank you all. This was a good one. And we'll keep, as
Legal
I said, we
at
want to try to do it
RERM.com.
more. And if Laura's around, or we'll have
Just send
other
it over to
stuff.
me because we've.
She's
we
great, it's
have
great.
increased the
And
benefits
use
last
her.
couple
And
of
that's
years.
why I
Okay,
say what I
thank you.
said earlier. I become friends with the people in the office. We're all in it together.
You look great.
Once the transaction closes, which doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yes.
Right. No, and use them. You call Manny, call Simon, but call her.
What?
You could call her.
I think the thing is you have to
He
have
wa- he wasn't fixed.
one of the
Slick wasn't fixed.
No, no, it's wired client, you have to have a
Oh.
wired back.
Right.
Yeah, this is done. This is 5.5 months, or no, 4.5 months old, and you are, wanna take anything, but it's questionable or not. it will give you the-
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna answer a question or two regardless, so. Glad all you guys came. Love it. Thank you. Oops.
I'm good. How are you? Good to see you. No, JP would kill me. JP would kill me. Yeah. Yeah. No. I'm in town the next couple of days. JP doesn't get here until Thursday. If he can get home.
Oh, you didn't drive?
No, no, he's in New York, or he's trying to get to New York. He had to fly Delta. And his flight got canceled. They were going through Atlanta. So now he's on another flight and he has a 1-day meeting tomorrow in New York. And then he's jumping on a plane like at 4 a.m. in New York to get here to LAX at 10:30. And then he is here. I pick him up at the airport. Then we're going on a quick Ensenada cruise, but we're back on Monday and we don't have any plans on Monday. Are you guys going to be around? Okay, okay, could we get together and see you guys? Do whatever, go to lunch? Okay, okay,
Well, he's still not eating, so.
okay, okay, that's fine, that's fine. We can just, visit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So good to see you. I missed you.
He's so cool when he was here.
Yeah. He's yeah, so I'm gonna be grandma.
Interesting stuff.
He already got my sister's dog pregnant.
Always.
Yeah, I always scare him every year. I'm like, look at my real estate horror stories. Look at this. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Any questions you have, just let us know. Okay, yeah, good, good.
What were you thinking?
Yeah.
All right.
You have a
Okay.
drive.
Caught up now.
Are you looking for you?
Yeah.
Good to see you. I don't know where she went either.
My kids
She's with her grandma.
Where'd you
Is she-
go?
is she-
Okay, absolutely. Take care. If you have any questions, just let us know.
Do it
Absolutely.
again and we might get
Yeah.
lucky and get her.
Yes. Mhm.
Oh, good. See? So you'll.
I know.
But it's good. You'll
I
figure
know.
it out.
Laura,
Yes,
very appreciative of, your services.
absolutely.
Like, I'm not a realtor, but my buddy is. I'm coming on board to his team.
Good.
Yeah, we've been friends long time. Love the guy, and yeah, just working with him, and it's all so new. The world of realty and real estate is so new, and yeah,
It's constantly evolving,
yeah, is it? I mean,
constantly evolving. Yeah.
yeah, what a world we live in.
Yes, yes. So, yeah. So hang in there.
Stay
Just keep,
safe. though.
stay safe.
Stay
Stay
safe.
safe. That's it.
Go
Yeah.
by the book.
Go by the book, go by the book. And if you have questions, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. That's what I tell the agents all the time. Don't be afraid to ask a question. Why are you afraid to ask a question? Don't be. That's why we're here.
Literally,
So,
that's
yeah,
the whole partnership thing.
Yep. absolutely.
So, yeah, I guess I'm just kicking it over here.
Okay.
While Isaac has lunch.
Okay.
Is there anything cool to see? I'm very interested,
I-
intrigued
I-
by the social media.
I don't work here. No, I'm from Sacramento. I'm gonna take off my mic.
Father,
Yeah,
summer.
yeah, no, I'm from Sacramento. I
Oh,
just,
yeah.
yeah, no, I flew down, flew down this morning, so.
It's your buddy.
It's my buddy, it's my pal. There she is. Wait, did we get a proposal? Oh my goodness, I didn't, I must have been, I've been sick. From the beginning of my life.
That's fine.
Oh, I thought it was.